Let's go to our 5 headlines. Okay, number 1, Kamala Harris is Joe Biden's VP pick. This is exciting news, folks. I mean, I don't really care, but some people do, so it's exciting for some people. I'll have more to say about this in the Daily Cancellation. For now, let me just echo the sentiments expressed by other people that this pick seems like perhaps the worst of all worlds for Joe Biden. She's from a state that Biden was already going to win. She doesn't have an enthusiastic fan base. She's hated by a lot of people left of center and right of center, a bit like Hillary in that regard. So I'm not sure what the upside is here, other than the fact that she checks the box. She's a minority woman. She checks the box. And since Biden announced ahead of time that he's going to pick a woman and that he especially wants to pick a minority woman, well, he can't claim now, although he's going to try to, but can't really claim credibly that she got the job because she was the best fit for it. He already announced that he was ruling out most people because of their demographics. So this is a check the box type of pick, and he told us that ahead of time. But as I said, there'll be more to say about that in Daily Cancellation. Number 2, the country of New Zealand, one of the most remote inhabited land masses on Earth, a tiny island nation with a few million residents, a few airports, a few international airports, and with its closest neighbors being Australia, the most sparsely inhabited continent on Earth, and Antarctica, an uninhabited continent. So we're talking about that New Zealand. Just to be specific, that's the New Zealand we're talking about here, okay? Not any other. And this country has been put forward as a coronavirus success story and a model for the rest of us to follow. And sure, we could follow the New Zealand model. All we have to do, first of all, is uproot our continent and place it somewhere in the middle of the Pacific. I don't know. We need to be floating out there with no one else around us, so that we can even begin to, be in the same position as New Zealand. But here's the problem. New Zealand is now having a surge of new cases. And in response, they're shutting down their cities again, going into lockdown, considering postponing their election. And there are people flocking to the grocery stores again, panicking. Here's some of that footage. Watch this.
Hey! The lady's trying to leave with their shopping. You should just leave.
Now here's the kicker. The surge in new cases that I just mentioned, 4 people. 4 in one family. And as far as I know, none of the cases are fatal. 4 people, 4 non-fatal cases in the entire country, and they're shutting everything down and panicking like that. So what can we take from that? For one thing, they're terrified because they have zero herd immunity, which makes them more susceptible, which is a good argument against the lockdowns. But for another, this is how New Zealand is handling it. If anyone, anywhere, gets diagnosed, they panic and shut down their whole society. And so when someone puts forth the New Zealand model, that's what they're suggesting we do. That we stay locked down until there are literally 0 cases. And as soon as another case pops up again, we shut down again. Number 3, a Black Lives Matter organizer in Chicago has come out in defense of looting on the basis that it is, she says, reparations. Take a listen.
I don't care if somebody decides to loot a Gucci or a Macy's or a Nike, because that makes sure that that person eats. That makes sure that that person has clothes. That makes sure that that person can make some kind of money because this city obviously doesn't care about them. Not only that, that's reparations. That is reparations. Anything they want to take it, because these businesses have insurance. They're going to get their money back. My people aren't getting anything.
Anything you want to take it, is her quote. Imagine as a sane human actually aligning yourself with that. Actually, being on the same side as people who openly state that they have a God-given right to take anything they want from anybody. So if you're aligning yourself with Black Lives Matter, the organization, this is what you're aligning yourself with. Is that really do you really believe that? You think that people have the right to just take whatever they want from anyone? Now, okay. So first of all, we've got a few competing assertions here. Looting is okay because people need the stuff because they're starving. Or is it because they have a right to it because of its reparations for atrocities that were committed against other people 150 years ago? It seems like it has to be one or the other, right? And either way, of course, it's lunacy. And the idea that people have to steal armfuls of purses and shoes from designer stores because they're hungry. What are they going to do? Eat the shoes? What exactly is happening here? It's, again, lunacy. And it's probably pointless to spend much time explaining why this is, because if you hear an assertion like that and you actually find it persuasive, you are so far gone psychologically that there's probably no argument I could ever present to you to convince you otherwise. So let's move on. Number 4, there have been a number of attacks already launched, ads and things launched against the Biden-Harris ticket. All of the attacks warranted, some of them more effective than others. Let me give you an example. This one just came out. This is an example of an effective attack against Biden-Harris. Watch.
Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, the most extreme pro-abortion ticket in American history, and the agenda to prove it. A pro-abortion Supreme Court and abortion on demand, even at 9 months, up to the moment of birth, all with your tax dollars. So extreme, Biden and Harris believe babies who survive abortions should be left to die. Disturbing views, troubling policies. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are pro-abortion fanatics. Women Speak Out PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
I've been saying this forever. This is a winner for Republicans. Exactly what you saw there. And this is true. These are pro-abortion extremists. Joe Biden is a pro-abortion extremist. Now, he might not really be in his head. I think he probably knows in his own mind that a child 5 seconds before birth is a human being, or 5 seconds after conception is also a human being. He probably knows that in his head, just like he knows in his head that that men can't get pregnant. But he's pretending that he doesn't know these things because he is beholden to the far left. And Kamala Harris, especially on these issues, really is authentically a far leftist. This is a winner. Okay, to point out that they are extremists. This is not something supporting killing babies fully developed in the womb, who are viable outside of the womb. That is not a mainstream position. It's among pro-abortion people, it might be, but among just the general population, it is not. And so this is absolutely something that should be put front and center, and I think that's a great ad. Okay, number 5, finally I have to tell you, I was really thrilled to see this article in Vice, as a member myself of the arachnophobia community. As someone who has that disability, I'm tired of being marginalized and excluded from society, and Vice is coming to my defense. Here's the article. It says, spiders are a popular video game monster. They're also an accessibility problem. The developers of Grounded, which is a video game, I guess, made spiders the big enemy of their new game, then suddenly realized a bunch of people were too scared to play it. They decided to find a real solution. And then there's this editor's note. Look at this. Editor's note, there are no images of spiders in this piece because this is a story about a phobia we have decided to avoid including any imagery that might trigger it. So this is sort of like an anti-trigger warning. It's a trigger warning that there are no triggers. Okay, great. Let's go to the article. It says, when you first start Grounded, a stylish new survival game from RPG developer Obsidian, where shrunken players explore a backyard full of unexpected dangers, the game asks a surprising question. Are you afraid of spiders? The game informs players, quote, the game contains spiders that are often much larger than the player. If you're super not okay with that, you can enable arachnophobia safe mode in the accessibility options. This is a visual only setting that does not affect gameplay or difficulty. And from there, and going back to the articles, it's from there, it's super easy to jump in and move the slider to change and deform the look of the game's spiders from something monstrous into blobs with 2 bulging eyes. A small but important touch. You don't even have to see the original design for a spider. The game forces the player to enable spider preview. And then, okay, this article goes on for a long time. This is a very long article. And talking about the accessibility problem for arachnophobes, people of the Iraq community. Iraq, not Iraq. That's what we call ourselves. I just decided. And the problem is we're excluded from games that have scary spiders. And this is something that has really plagued me, especially as an avid gamer myself. But fortunately, video game developers are finally addressing the problem, and I'm very grateful for that. But this is what I want to say. This is only a first step. Yes, we can eradicate spiders from video games, but what about on the rare occasion that a gamer leaves the house? You know, what if it's that monthly or bi-monthly journey out of the house? There are spiders everywhere outside. Have you seen outside? It's horrifying. Those little bastards spinning their webs everywhere. No respect for your personal space. Everywhere you go, they're trying to catch you in their webs. They're trying to, you know, crawl into your ear, lay eggs in your brain. I mean, this kind of stuff happens. So my issue is, I am not able to participate in existence, really. I'm not able to participate in life in general, at least not to the fullest extent, because spiders are out there, and they're super scary, and they have too many eyes, just far too many. It's weird. It's not right. So something has to be done for my community so that we can really be full participants in society. The video game is paving the way, but what about everywhere else? Now, here's some suggestions. You could start by, first of all, giving us all earplugs so that the spiders can't get in. That'd be a good place to start. We could talk about, you know, some kind of plan to hunt down all the spiders and exterminate them, a genocide of spiders, if you will. Or in lieu of that, I mean, listen, if you want to just give me some money for my pain and suffering, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 million a year from taxpayers, that might help ease my fears and heal my wounds before the spiders can crawl in. So these are all things we could talk about, but I'm glad, I'm just glad that we are finally having that conversation. It's an important conversation. Thank you for tuning into the Daily Wire, one of the fastest growing conservative media outlets in the entire country. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and a subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any of our content.